Our dear Cameroonian brothers and sisters, our thoughts and prayers are with you in these difficult times. In fact, we stand with all of you. Because it is like to come from Africa should be added to list of global offenses. Once you come from this place, you don't commit one offense. Tomorrow we go talk, say colonial master this, colonial master that. Apart from the one way colonial masters do, una sure say black man on his own no get problem. And you people sure say African man on his own, he not get the one way day in body before the one of colonial master join them again. Because it is like the African Union Organization make they change the name to African Union of Ancestors, African Relics, African Oracles, or African Deities. Because a 92-year-old man go talk say you want to contest and be president for the 8th term, we go finish at about 2032. By that time, you should be about 99 going to 100 years old. Instead of being no basimbo, Paul Biya, let your people go. Jesus. In a country with so much potential, it does not matter the number of people who die, you must be in power. A country with young and intelligent people, the head of the president oracle, head of judiciary ancestors, head of electoral something will be a deity. The entire country governed by relics. People dying every day, but it does not matter to anybody. Just hold on to power. The same Cameroon where you they see so, since they got independence in 1960, only 2 people have been president. Amadou Ahidjo from 1960 to 1982, and then Paul Biya from 1982 till today and counting. And the same Paul Biya was prime minister from 1975 till 1982. You alone be in power for almost 50 years and counting. Ori buruku lenshe. Ori buruku lenshe. If in a country now only one person defeats do the job, then that country is cursed. There is a problem with such a nation. But unfortunately, it is the same story if you enter many of the African countries. In fact, the list of the longest serving heads of states who are not kings or monarchs, all of them, the first 3, they come from Africa. Cross from Cameroon, enter Equatorial Guinea, Teodoro Obiang Basogo. That one has been there from 1982, even before Paul Biya entered office as president. His own son, Teodoro Obiang Mangwe, is the vice president. Cross from there, enter Uganda, Yoweri Museveni from 1986 till date and counting. The person where they contest to be prime minister, if you see him, you will shed tears of affliction. The young guy where they try to run to be president, where youths they rally around to support Bobby Wine, they go arrest him, they go jail him, they will do everything to suppress him because now only one person sabi do the job in the country. Cross from there and enter Chad, Colonel Mahatma Deby. The current president is the son of the late President Idris Deby, who was there from 1991 until 2021 when they shoot him. They said they were fighting insurgents around Lake Chad Basin. The son take over Colonel Mahatma Deby. They said they go hand over, they go do this, they go do that. Till then, so the thing they start to small, the thing they go. Enter Rwanda. Paul Kagame has been there from 2000 till 2025, 25 years and counting. When you talk, they say na them sabi do the work. Maybe when they die, their ghost or spirit go continue doing the work because there is no other person that can be leader in such countries. Cross from there, enter Ivory Coast, Alassane Ouattara. 80-something, about 83 years old, since 2010, still recontesting for election again. Una want so that even whether una get stroke or una day on life support machine, just shall be head of state. Enter Togo. The current president, Fonya Singbe. He is even a young man. I think he was born in 1966. But the unfortunate story, his own father, Nasingbe Nyadema was there from 1967 until 2005 when he died. Immediately he died, the son take over till date. Alone, that family have led the country for more than 50 years and counting. African man, Ori Buruku. Cross from there and enter Gabon. Now, 2 years ago, they had to do coup to comot the Ali Bongo Dimba because he had been there since 2009. The father, his own father, Omar Bongo Dimba, was there from 1967 until 2009 when he died. From there, the son take over. Even when people don't like military and all of that, they get no choice than to support the military to take away the relics out of the place. Nigeria, our own, unfortunate. Not forget Zimbabwe, Robert Mugabe, who was there from 1987 till he died 2017. The person where they did now, Mason Mangagwa, they don't clear so that now only him go contest because him don't help stabilize the economy. Now only him go fit to do the job. It is always only you people. Nigeria difference, we say we they do elections, say they go come out to, but we change calamity from one calamity to predicament to a greater calamity. So we go come out from flooding to tornado to hurricane to earthquake. Now we did for the one we did so. Ori buruku lenshe. That is the difference with Africa and the Western world, your electoral process, because the first institution where they go destroy, electoral process, judiciary, and law enforcement. That is their only means to hold on to power forever. May a generation of Africans wake up and liberate this continent. A continent with so much potential. Today, Africa exists just to provide raw materials for the Western world. Africa has no business in this level of poverty, killings, and insecurity, if not to dysfunctional leadership. Young people are here to tap and unleash the potential, where young minds should be able to liberate the country. An entire continent held hostage by relics, by sculptures, who should be put in a museum where people they pay money to go see them, or even see them free of charge, holding entire country's destiny hostage because you want to perpetuate yourself in power. Oriburuku leshe. Make we see how we go get this power forever. The people of Cameroon, the people of Nigeria, the people of Africa, our thoughts and prayers are with all of us. God will give us the courage, and I know that one day Africa will be liberated, because the group of young people, intelligent minds, resourceful people where they this country, we have no business in this kind of suffering and wasting of human blood just for the political ambitions of one people. Our dear Cameroonians, my thoughts and prayers are with all of you. May God be with you and may God protect you. My name is Peter for Cameroon, Peter for Africa.
We're beginning what's trending in Cameroon, where thousands have taken to the streets in protest against the presidential election results that extended President Paul Biya's rule for another 7 years. The Central African Nations Constitutional Council on Monday declared 92-year-old Biya as the winner of the disputed vote, with over 53% of the ballots, triggering violent protests in several cities. Let's take a look. I mean, I don't know if Cameroon can survive this, Rufai. Paul Biya is Africa's oldest leader and one of the world's longest-serving rulers. He has been in power for 43 years. At least 4 people have been killed in recent clashes with security forces. International observers have expressed deep concern about the recent violent repression of protests and called on authorities to tackle the excessive use of force. Biya, however, faces a weakened mandate as analysts warn the post-election standoff could intensify, raising concerns about stability in the oil and cocoa-producing nation. We've seen protests like this, especially only recently in Nepal. They are burning buildings. 4 people have died. Can Cameroon survive this, Rufai?
So, about up till 1 a.m. this morning, I was up on Cameroonian TV, Equinox TV. Yeah. And yes, there's been a lot of burnings, but police are already on the street, cracking down on people high-handedly. I mean, I got sent a message from that 15 people, again, just overnight into this morning, passed as a result of this. Very sad. Most of the cities, you know, from Douala to Yaoundé to other parts of the country, everywhere, you know, on tenterhooks, even up to, you know, the northern region, Garoua and all of that.
Unfortunately.
I think there's a process where the parliament actually swears him, so he has actually taken the oath of office to be able to start. But today, Oje, I'd like to name and shame President Nguema of Gabon, that has gone ahead to send a congratulatory message to Biya. You see, as long as we have African leaders that congratulate sham elections like this, Africa will never move forward. But how are you going to even blame Bryce Nguema himself when he came in via a coup himself? So the killings are going on in Cameroon. EU has written extensively about it. All the international bodies have written extensively about it. The truth is, Oji, people will just get killed and Biya will consolidate. At this point, it is a sorry state for the Cameroonian people. Lots of places have been burnt across the country. But is this how Cameroon will continue? Is this how Ivory Coast will continue? Look at the Ivorian case. Those ones, because they've been suppressed so much and because they've lied to the Ivorians because of the civil war that happened after the former elections, that you must not come out to protest. So they've suppressed people.
No, this is unfortunate.
And that's what is happening in Africa. So we've gone 10 steps forward and 15 steps backward.
Unfortunate. Dr.
Well, the irony of it and the painful part of it is how democracy is in retreat in Africa. from Niger to Chad to Mali to Gabon to Guinea-Conakry to, Cote d'Ivoire, Uganda, and now Cameroon. The unfortunate part of it also is that the same Paul Biya is the oldest head of state in the world. He has been president in Cameroon since 1982. He is not even in the country. He's somewhere in Geneva, Intercontinental Hotel, ensconced there. He came to campaign only once.
Only once,
so
yes.
It is the ordinary people who always suffer when their leaders disappoint them. Yesterday I asked a question. What next for Cameroon?
Yes.
Most of the people in Cameroon, they don't know any other leader. Yes. It's only Biya that they have known their entire lives. Now, whether he likes it or not, when his reign of terror ends, what will happen to Cameroon? What next?
Yeah.
Finally, Chiroma Bakari, the leader of the opposition and the United Front for Change, now the Interior Minister of Cameroon, is saying that he may be taken to court and that he will have to face legal consequences because it is he and his accomplices who are causing what he calls an insurrection in Cameroon. So the next thing you are likely to have is not just the suppression, because Paul Atanga Nji, that's his name, he's saying that they have put down the insurrection, but that Bakari Chiroma will have to answer for this because he's the one who has incited the people. At the end of the day, it is the people who always hold the short end of the stick. We have heard from AU, from the UN, and from the EU, all calling for caution. ECOWAS is yet to speak up.
This is what
and I have said that Nigeria must not congratulate Paul Biya, and that President Tinubu must not attend the inauguration.
I agree with you.
I hope somebody is listening.
Yes.
Please, they should listen to
please, Africa has to stand up against
if you attend Paul Biya's inauguration, we'll come and we'll condemn you here. Because enough of all of this in Africa.
Don't threaten the president
No,
of
if
Nigeria.
he does, we'll condemn him.
Don't express your opinion. Don't threaten
against
him.
the coups in
he
the
does,
countries.
we'll condemn
They
him.
took a hard stance. Remember how it was controversial when they said they were going to even launch military, force. If they can speak against coups like that, democratic coups like this must also be hugely condemned by all West African countries.
Yes.
So it's not just for coups through military action. Even democratic coups like this, where lives are lost in the process, ought to be condemned. Until Africa is Africa's solution to Africa's problems. Until African leaders are ready for true democracy and stand up to speak against and even sanction countries like this, we're not going anywhere. So
imagine,
like you rightly said,
if you were to stay in power, guess how old you will be?
100.
99. By the time it's done,
100.
99. Who wants a leader that is 99?
Imagine.
Africans have to speak up. They have to speak against this.
Nigeria is a classless society. If you take the people you call leaders, go to the Senate, go to the House of Reps, you can go and pick 109 Nigerians at random without election. Put them in the Senate chambers, and the results may not be different from what you're getting now. Okay? Because the truth is, you have highly educated people in government, but they behave like illiterates. They forget their education behind. When you talk about praise singing, why would a man who is an educated man, an accomplished man, why would he be a praise singer to anyone? Why would he not be able to face his boss and say, Oga, we're not doing that, this is the truth? And why would a person in authority not have the confidence to listen to those around him and take criticism? Okay. So you've got people who are supposed to be the representatives of the values of society. By the time you become a governor, honestly, you should be beyond looking for money. You have been given an opportunity to take care of the lives of millions of people, to educate children, to save lives, to provide health care, to build infrastructure. And all you are thinking of is a car, a house. I mean, are you that cheap? Or some bank account, and you see them, and at the end of the day they leave office. After a few years they die, and the children are fighting over the money. Then they get the money, and then they go on drugs, and everything is wasted. That money would have been better spent educating millions of young people and saving lives. So if we really want to fix this country, we need to have a class. The ruling class needs to have values. Values beyond stomach infrastructure. This leads to misplaced expectations. There's a role for the central bank. There's a role for the Ministry of Finance. You've got monetary policy, you have fiscal policy, you have structural policies, you have institutional reforms. And yes, I was one of those who commended the appointment of Wale Edun and Yemi Cardoso. These are two gentlemen that I've known for many years, and I have never had any question about their competence. And if you try to assess them, you've got to ask, what were they supposed to achieve? Okay. Now, going back to the beginning, you talk about 2012. And you talk about the suffering from removal of subsidy. It's simple arithmetic. If you're paying 80 naira or 65 naira per liter, and you begin to pay 160 naira per liter, costs will go up. There will be hardship. And the duty of leaders is to understand that there will be a cost to removing subsidy. And I said in 2012, if you remember from the town hall meeting, to say that there will be hardship is not an economic argument. To say that there will be a cost to removing subsidy is not an economic argument. The economic argument is, this is the cost of removing the subsidy. What is the cost of not removing the subsidy? Are you making a choice? We were in a situation where we had a hedge that we called, it was not a subsidy, it was a hedge. You see, a subsidy by definition, the government says, I will pay X% of the price. That is a subsidy. I'll pay 20% of the price, whatever it is. Price goes up, you pay more, I pay more. Price goes down, you pay less, I pay less. What we had in this country is what in risk management you call a naked hedge, the worst possible derivative you can have. The government said to Nigerians, 200 million Nigerians, you will not pay more than X amount per liter on petrol, no matter what the price of petrol is. So all price goes up from $40 to $140, the federal government pays the difference. Exchange rate moves from 155 to 300, the government pays the difference. Interest rates move from 5% to 15%, the government pays it. Remember, the price of petrol and what the calculations include the cost of crude, the cost of refined product, the cost of transportation, even interest rates, demurrage. If you look at the template, all of those amounts were being absorbed. The federal government was saying, I have an unlimited pocket. So we moved from a point where we were using revenues to pay subsidy to where we had to borrow money to pay subsidy, to where we had to borrow money to pay interest on the borrowed money. We had become bankrupt. Anyone who takes a naked hedge ends up being bankrupted, especially with a commodity where you don't control the price. So this was the point in 2012. Now, if Nigerians had allowed the Jonathan government to remove the subsidy in 2011, that would have been pain. But that pain would have been a very, very tiny fraction of what we are facing today. This is the cost of delay. At that time, we worked out the numbers in the central bank, and I stood up and put my credibility on the line and said, remove the subsidy today, inflation moves up from 11% to 13%. I will bring it down in a year. We will not have had 30-something% inflation. Okay? That was where we were. Now, people like my friend Kaide Fayemi here and his APC friends had Occupy Nigeria, came out on the streets, told us we could not do it. And I remember calling one of my friends. And this is, we should talk about these things because it's important. There's a kind of poetic justice. That it is actually the people who led the Occupy Nigeria movement who ended up seeing the problem, inheriting the problem, and having to do it. And I remember calling one of my friends at that time and said, look, one of my closest friends, saying, you know that what we're doing is right. He said, yes, I know. Said, why? He said, well, I'm in opposition. My job is to make the government look bad. You are the governor of central bank. You go and defend your government. Just politics. And the only reason the government compromised at that time, maybe we should know this, the only reason the government compromised and did 50% not 100% was Boko Haram. Because there were thousands of Nigerians on the streets in Lagos and Kano and Kaduna and all that. At the time when we had suicide bombers in the country. And there was a fear. If one day one of these suicide bombers goes to these Nigerians and explodes the bomb and you have 200 corpses, it will no longer be about subsidy. So you have to give President Jonathan the credit. He was determined to do it, but at the end of the day, the compromise was made, okay, to save Nigerian lives. Now, what has the central bank achieved? Central bank's role is to provide stability. The central bank does not deliver growth. It does not deliver employment. It provides an environment that is conducive to growth. Okay? Now, and the central bank has achieved it. You don't want inflation moving from 10% to 15% to 20% to 25%, because as I said a few weeks ago at NESG, Nigerians don't realize that we were on the brink of hyperinflation. Beyond a certain rate of inflation, it becomes runaway inflation. You can't control it. You'd buy rice in the morning. By the time you come at 12 noon, the price has changed. By 4 p.m., it has changed. This is what happened in Zimbabwe. It happened in Venezuela. It happened in Argentina. We were heading for Nigeria. We're printing money like that. So we're heading for Nigeria. We're heading in the direction of Zimbabwe under Mugabe, or Uganda under Idi Amin. So inflation has been reined in. The runaway devaluation has been stopped. Yes, we're at 1,400. Nobody wants an naira at 1,400. But it's better to know that it will be 1,400 for the next 6 months, 8 months, 10 years, than to think it's 1,400 today, 2,000 tomorrow, 2,500, which is really... So the central bank's job is not to give you a strong naira. The central bank's job is not to give you low prices. The central bank's job is to reduce the volatility in the price level. And so when you assess the central bank, you've got to say, what has it done? Have you reduced volatility inflation? Have you brought it down? We're going to bring it down to single digit. You're on your way. There's still a long way to go. Okay, I would like to see inflation come down to under 10%. It will take time. But in terms of stopping it from runaway, it has. Exchange rate volatility has been reduced. Now on the fiscal side, and we talk about tax reforms, those reforms, the Tax Act only takes off next year. So we must remember that before the tax reforms have kicked in, we have increased government revenues. We have brought down debt service ratios from 100 and something percent to about 40%. Okay, so on the revenue side, you've got to give the finance ministry credit for what it's done. Now, is there more to do? Yes. And the way where the problem is what Atedo has mentioned, is the expenditure side.
Yes.
Okay? The quality of spending. And some of these things, we've got to be honest with ourselves. Look, why do we need 48 ministers? Why do we need dozens of vehicles when we're moving around in convoys or traveling all over the country?
So, Your Highness, that brings me to that question which I'm asking, which is, do we have an affliction that affects the hearing of our leaders and unable to listen to the good advice?
No, I mean...
If we have an affliction, we'll get a doctor to fix it.
Yes, so your question started with the finance minister and central bank governor, and we're saying that there are things that are beyond them when you're dealing with the economy. So I would go along with that and say you've got to look at overheads. You've got to look at things like your contract processing, procurement process, okay? There's still questions about inflated contracts. There are questions about transparency. There are questions, all this money is coming into the federal, and this at federal, state, and local level, there are serious questions about how the money that is being raised is being used. And the arithmetic is simple. If you stop paying subsidy, why are we still borrowing more? Because if you've filled a hole, we should have the revenue to fund expenditure. But we fill in one hole and dig in a bigger hole. So this government needs to look at institutions. It needs to look at the quality of spending. It needs to understand that if you keep making more money and keep blowing it away, you're going to undo what you have done. But apart from that, I think a lot of good has been done, okay? But we still have to look at what needs to be done.
I would ask this question, Your Royal Highness, one more time. And I hope I get a straight answer to it. Nigerian leaders, from as long as I can remember since I've been in this country, they seem to not be listening to wise counsel. Even the man that you said was President Jonathan at the time had the good counsel to say, no matter what happens with Boko Haram and the rest of them, this is wise counsel, not just from the then SLS governor of CBN, from a great mind like Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala. Everybody said this is the right thing. In fact, I remember you mentioned on Channels Television, where I was the GM then, that we're on the precipice, about to fall. You said it. So why will that president not take the right action? And then the one after, and now the one that is there now, knowing what the answers are from the experts, the likes of Wale and the likes of Yomi Cardoso and all the other brilliant minds that are working with him. Why are they not doing it?
So guys, there is a video on the social media here that I want us to react to. This is a video of the former governor of Ekiti State speaking on how they ganged up to remove Jonathan from power. And this is in alignment with what Emir Sanusi came out recently to say, that politicians who are educated, once they get into power, they start behaving like illiterate. One just wonders what happens when they get into this position of power. Is it that they become hypnotized or what? Now, this video has been circulating and Nigerians have been reacting, where a PhD holder, the former governor of the state, came out to say, yes, they actually ganged up. They knew Jonathan was doing well, but because they needed power, they had to look for what to say so as to remove Jonathan from power. So guys, a whole lot of reactions coming from Nigerians. It's unbelievable what is happening. It's unbelievable the way these people can just, for the sake of power, no matter what is going to happen, it does not make, as in the outcome of their action makes no sense to them, as in they just want to get power at all costs. Anyway, I'm going to be taking you through some of the reactions coming from Nigerians as regards to this. It's really, really so sad to see that these politicians, they really know what is happening in this country. Look at the level of insecurity. Do you know how many people have died? Consider Benue. Consider Plateau. Consider all these places. I say, do you know how many people have died as a result of the actions of these politicians because they needed power at all costs? Do you know how many people have been died? Do you know how many people have gone down? Now, let's just quickly take some reactions from Nigerians, This person said, this Mugu is laughing, saying it so loud. People papa proudly being stupid. Nigeria mumu na too much like this. This other person say, imagine. Another person say, the craziest part is Governor Fayemi was laughing, saying this. No remorse, no guilt conscience, nothing. And he went ahead to use some negative languages. And then this person said, the most expensive joke in the world, at the expense of current insecurity, gross incompetence, Christian genocide, and destroyed economy. It's funny to you. It's not funny to concerned Nigerians. Collective evil liars. Aristotle was right. Evil truly brought them together. Evil truly brought them together. Evil. Hey, this person's tweet makes a lot of sense, And this person said, this is confession of how Tinubu and his political gangster worked against the interests of Nigerians while in opposition. And now in government, Tinubu is actively demonstrating that neither Nigerians nor Nigeria matter to him. The only thing that matters to him is himself and his cronies. And this other person say, few politicians brought millions out in the street, protested for days, just for selfish reasons. Now, years later, the same millions are suffering but cannot hit the street as they did then. Aren't that crazy? Aren't that crazy? If you hit the street, they will use, the military and the rest of it against you. And this person here said, this man is giggling like a retard, as he jokes about how they ruin the lives of millions of Nigerians because it's all politics. These are the people APC supporters imagine will somehow make their lives better. These are people they think will make their lives better, even though the data shows this is impossible. And this other person said, I was there at Ojota Live. Nobody told me. I witnessed everything. I told a Yoruba boy, then named Tokwe, that this is pure evil and it will backlash. But he was busy blasting Jonathan and me, and even had a bet with me. But today he had relocated back to the village. Can't afford rent. Can you imagine? Can't afford rent. And this other person here said, the fact that he's saying it without any remorse is even more annoying. Politicians get away with evil because there's no dire consequences for their action. The same people, AC and APC party members, deprived of quality and progressive life because of politics, are celebrating them today. It's a shame. And this other person said they worked with Obama and introduced Boko Haram to achieve regime change. I stopped watching as soon as he started laughing like a he-goat that took snuff. The fact that some lunatics were clapping for him instead of stoning him. So these are reactions after this video started circulating, that the former governor of Ekiti State is exposing how they ganged up, even though they knew Jonathan was in the right trajectory, but they needed something to cook up just to remove Jonathan. So guys, that tells you the kind of leaders we have in this country. That tells you what Governor Fayose is saying, that these people, even though they claim to be literate, but once they get into power, they begin to behave like illiterates. Let me know your thought on this in the comment section below. Thank you.